Good afternoon, I'm Sean Yao, and this is One News Now. Cheaper, well-milled rice is now available in select stores across Metro Manila. The rice is priced at 38 pesos per kilo. This is an initiative by the Philippine Rice Stakeholders Movement, or PRISM, as a reprieve for consumers amid the rising prices of rice. Various stakeholders, such as traders and millers, are reportedly shouldering the expenses for logistics and retailer markups. The 38 peso per kilo rice can also be purchased at Kadiwa stores. However, customers are limited to a maximum of 5 kilos to prevent hoarding. On this note, the National Irrigation Administration, or NIA, is appealing to Filipinos not to waste rice and other food items to avoid unnecessary wastage.
Malaki po yan kasi nababasa po natin data, umaabot pa nga ho ng up to 20% yung wastage po natin sa pagkain. Sana tumulong din yung ating mga kababayan na magtipid at huwag mag-agsaya po ng pagkain.
Moving on to Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel wanting the country's water supply problems included in the State of the Nation address on July 24. In his SONA, Pimentel said that President Bongbong Marcos should address the water crisis that is expected to worsen with the El Nino. The senator emphasized that past droughts and water crises have taken their toll on agriculture, food production, the economy, and public health. In Metro Manila, water concerns are building. Just this week, Maynilad customers will experience water interruptions as a result of the water level dip in the Angat Dam. Several barangays in Quezon City, Manila, Caloocan, Malabon, Navotas, and Valenzuela will have to endure daily water interruptions beginning Wednesday, July 12 from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. For those living farther away from service areas, interruptions could extend for an extra 2 hours. Maynilad still cannot say how long these interruptions will last, but the water concessionaire assures that it will not be as bad as the 14 to 16-hour water interruptions experienced in April.
And hopefully, ito pong gagawin nating interruption ay mas mapaiksi pa natin sa actual implementation. Talaga ang iniiwasan namin mangyari na merong single customer na 24 hours siyang walang tubig.
And it's not only the lack of water that Filipinos have to worry about during the El Nino. The Health Department is also warning of diseases and illnesses that could easily spread during this weather phenomenon. The DOH says cases of dengue usually spikes during the dry season. In fact, the agency has already tallied nearly 68,000 cases of dengue. The Health Department says this number could shoot up with people storing water that could be breeding grounds for mosquitoes. Aside from dengue, the DOH also advises the public to watch out for diseases that they may contract from contaminated water sources, including cholera and diarrhea.
Pag El Nino kasi, ang tendency ng mga tao ay mag-igib ng tubig. So marami tayong water containers na yun ang magiging breeding places ng mga lamok. Maaring hindi safe yung water source po nila. So contaminated water supply. So babantayan din po yan ng kagwanan ng kalusugan.
In other news, the Transportation Department has announced that the target completion for the Metro Manila subway project has been moved yet again. The agency scrapped its earlier plan of starting the partial operations of the subway's Valenzuela to Tandangsora and North Avenue stations by 2027. Passengers will now have to wait 6 more years or until 2029 before the subway will be open to the public. The construction is seen to be completed by 2028. On Monday, transportation officials showed the progress of the subway project in Valenzuela. The 33-kilometer underground rail is 33% complete. The subway will have a total of 17 stations, which could serve over 500,000 passengers per day.
Kasi kung magpa-partial operability tayo hanggang a certain station, hindi naman natin siya, parang hindi siya optimized, no, for our passengers, di ba? So, it would be best na we just operate it pagka buo na.
We're gonna pause for a quick break, but One News Now will be back with more stories after that. Stay with us. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The Immigration Bureau says that the woman who was recently offloaded from her flight to Taiwan intended or may have intended to work abroad. Immigration spokesperson Dana Sandoval told The Big Story that the passenger's purpose did not match the documents that she presented, that she is simply flying to Taiwan for a visit or a tourist visit. And this is why she had to undergo a second interview. The passenger earlier claimed that she was asked to present 10 birth certificates of her ancestors. However, Sandoval claimed that most travelers do not need to go through lengthy immigration screenings if they do not raise any red flags in the eyes of the immigration officer.
Not everyone is being asked additional questions. What immigration officers look out for are red flags, meaning inconsistencies under documentation and under purpose of travel. That is the trigger for the immigration officer to ask further questions to see the entire picture of the circumstances of the travel.
Still in line with that story, 2 experts have weighed in on how to improve the service at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or NAIA. On the Chiefs, Vice Chairman and Director of the Asian Business Aviation Association, Patrick Roa, said NAIA must be capable of expanding its runways just like any other small global airport. He also suggested the re-examination of the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, and the creation of new agencies to perform its functions.
Can re-examine the CAAP and how the DOTR works with them. Even they are pushing for a restructuring of the CAAP, that they want to separate and create the Philippine Airport Authority, and maybe even create another authority that's focused only on the air traffic control systems.
And for his part, Passenger Forum convener Prime Murillo said that NAIA should be more accessible to commuters. He added that having a train line which goes straight to the airport is a good idea.
Gawing possible na mag-commute yung tao papunta sa airport. At hindi obligado na mag-taxi, hindi obligado na mag-TNBS o mag-arkila ng sariling sasakyan o may sariling sasakyan. Magkaroon ng actual train na nandoon sa airport. Gustong-gusto ng tao yun.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. A magnitude 5 earthquake struck eastern Samar on Monday evening. FIVOC says the tremor occurred 7 kilometers northeast of Llorente town at 9:01 p.m. It was initially recorded at magnitude 5.2 but was later on downgraded. The earthquake was also felt in other Samar provinces as well as Leyte. Any damage is not expected from the tremor, or no damage is expected from the tremor, but residents are warned of possible aftershocks. The country has registered close to 61% of the total 168 million SIM cards ahead of the July 25 deadline. That's an actual number of more than 102 million registered SIM cards. The DICT is still urging the public to register their SIMs before the deadline in order to avoid permanent deletion of their SIMs. And here's some news for motorists. Oil companies are implementing mixed adjustments on fuel prices this week. Effective today, July 11, gasoline prices have been rolled back by 20 centavos per liter. On the other hand, diesel prices have gone up by 75 centavos per liter, while kerosene prices are lower by half a peso a liter. The Metro Manila Film Festival has announced the first 4 entries in this year's awards. The MMFF Selection Committee said these films were judged based on their scripts alone. Megastar Sharon Cuneta and Alden Richards will team up for the first time in Noel Naval's A Mother and Son Story. Campon is a horror thriller starring Beauty Gonzalez and Derek Ramsey. Penduko is a fantasy action film starring Mateo Guidicelli and Christine Reyes, written and directed by John Paul Laksamana. And the film Rewind is a reunion project of real-life couple Marian Rivera and Ding Dong Dantes. The deadline of submission of entries for the festival is on September 29, with the MMFF looking for 4 more films to complete the Magic 8. One News Now will be back at 3:15 p.m. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.